Don't touch that dial. That is indeed someone's name. You want to know about eye contact. Well, cats, especially leopards, direct eye contact with a leopard is considered a challenge because they are solitary. So I think with any solitary cat, eye contact is considered a challenge and a threat. With lions, it's very important to maintain eye contact because that is basically showing confidence. But when leopards, for example, the way Tingana is sitting now, if another male leopard happened to rock up on the scene, he would not look at him. He would maintain the sideways posture. His jowls would be very large and hanging, and he'd probably be growling at the same time. And that would be indicating to the other male that I've seen you, and I'm bigger than you, but they don't look at each other. As soon as they look at each other, it's a direct challenge, and that could often lead to something more. So if you do encounter a leopard on foot and you need to back away from it, you look at it sideways without looking at him directly in the eye. That is the best way to do it. But every now and again, a leopard, when we're on the vehicle, will look straight through us, straight through the soul, and it is quite something to experience. They really do see straight through you. There he dozes again. He's still lying on the road. We've been with him this entire time. He hasn't deviated too much. Initially saw him moving off to spy that herd of waterbuck, and then as they crossed, I think he anticipated them crossing at a different point, because where we had stopped behind him previously was a very nice game trail with lots of waterbuck tracks crossing. So I think he initially anticipated them crossing at that angle, but they deviated very slightly and he lost his opportunity. Beautiful spots, the rosettes of the leopard. It is almost completely dark. We are with the infrared, so we're able to see all of these images beautifully, not influencing anybody. There's a vehicle behind us. I'm surprised they haven't put a spotlight on yet. Okay, well, while we stay with this night critter, Tingana himself, let's go over to Ralph, who's searching for his own nocturnal animals.
Yes, Steve, and well, it's not as exciting as what you've got, but I tell you what, the other night we were looking out, and after Taylor found a chameleon and she challenged us to find one, well, we did. So I'm looking for little critters like that as well now. And we might find ourselves a little genet, or a honey badger, or a little chameleon, or even a fiery-necked nightjar. And you know what? I know that there was a sighting a little while ago of a pennant-winged nightjar, but we won't see the pennant wings at the moment, but we could still see a pennant-winged nightjar, but not in breeding plumage. But they saw it with inbreeding plumage. That was a few months ago, not now that we're heading into autumn. But that's quite a rare sighting, and it's much like a kite with those long streamers. Nandini, that's a good question. Birds don't particularly mark their territories by scent. More what they do is they mark their territory by calling. So like a lion does when he calls or roars, the birds mark their territory more so by all their little calls, and they will actively fly around and defend their territory as well. But the biggest mark that they do is through audio. Now there's a little gecko that just disappeared in there, and there he is. If you can see him, if I stop here, he might poke his head out. I think you might just be able to see him there. He was poking his, if you can see his foot there, he was poking his head out. There he is. Look at his little head there. There he is. Hello, little chap. I'm not exactly sure which gecko this is, but we'll wait and see if he comes out. Yeah, we can see you, but we'll pretend like we can't. Come on out, buddy. Oh, thank you, Steph, in FC, telling me it's a thick-toed gecko. I haven't seen this one before. It looks like the day geckos that we get down in the Eastern Cape. But I'm not familiar with this one. I'll have to check him out in the book when I get home as well. And wonderful. It's also time for him to come out. He's obviously spent the whole day hiding up behind that little loose piece of bark there. I think elephants possibly made that injury. Kathy, I agree with you. Very camouflaged indeed. And very nice to see that this is the perfect time for a little gecko to be coming out and starting to do his hunting. You know, I actually think in the future, through evolution, we might find that little geckos like this, they actually have a light on their forehead or right on the tip of their nose, because then all the moths and everything would fly directly at them, and they'd just have to sit there with their mouth open. Because at home, when you leave the light on, they all come around the light, and the moths and everything are then easy pickings, and they get so fat there. I've got about 5 geckos at home that just live in my ceiling and come out as soon as I turn the outside light on, and then they just sit there and wait for the moths to come to the light. That's very, very cool. And a lot of these, like frogs and lizards, you can also, identifying features is looking at that pupil, whether it's vertical, whether it's horizontal, whether it's round, or if it's slitty like that. So that's one of the real characteristics that you need to look at. And this one, he's got a very clear vertical, slitty pupil. So that would be a clear characteristic. If you've got 2 brown geckos that look almost identical, then you just start to look at the pupil. But, well, I think let's leave this little guy to carry on his hunting. He's obviously just started off. And, well, let's head over to Steve, who's got that big predator with spots.
Yes, we are still with the big predator with spots. The Duke of Djuma, who decided from his summer still mobile in the road. He's going to scent marking. Main roads like this are often very important boundaries. The easily navigatable road or pathway. I wonder if they see it as a road or if they see it just as a major game path. But often cats will use river courses, power lines, fence lines, any form of sort of easily accessible pathway. Elephant space. I'm not going to get up there. Wow. That is a proper embankment. Sorry about the signal there, folks. We've got someone joining us. Afternoon. After you guys. Enjoy. There we go. That's Ryan from Arathusa. Okay, so it's nice that we were able to get someone else into the sighting. There he is moving. What's he doing? Has he spotted something on the left? Don't go left, Tingana. That is torchwood, young sir. Oh, he's smelling something. Someone has visited that bush. Tasman, age 7. There, he's doing the phlegm and grimace. Look at that. He's picked up a urine signature on the branch. And now by lifting his mouth like that, the urine signature goes into the top of the mouth, and it indicates all sorts of pheromone sort of things in the brain. Female status, male status, all sorts of things. Now Tasman, age 7, leopards will eat as often as they can, but they can go for a week and a half without eating, but they don't normally do that. They Sometimes will eat every day. It all depends on the time of year and the conditions available. But leopards will eat very regularly, but they can go for some time without food because they have such a large protein diet when they do eat. Now, he's very interested in that bush. Probably a female leopard who's come along and scent marked. He's getting very excited about it. He's rubbing his head in there. I wouldn't be surprised if he turns around now and scent marks on top of her. You can see that his mouth is still open in that grimace. He's almost looking off into the distance as if whatever female that is just going to materialize in front of him. But the brain is obviously working out all sorts of things. Yes, Francis from Israel, the females will phlegm and grimace as well. You'll actually see it in many, many animals. Most of the antelope that I've seen do it, even elephant, but you don't see the grimace in the elephant because they've got an enormous nose. But buffalo do it, rhino, male and female, as well as lots of antelope. You see it with lions, you see it with leopards. I've never seen it with hyena though. I've never seen them do that. But lots of animals do that, and it's accessing the brain, different sort of the Jacobson organ in the roof of the mouth, and it's telling them all sorts of things from status, strength, reproductivity, all sorts of things we can't even fathom to imagine. We can only guess. He's really enjoying this little Facebook status post. Scent marking is just like status posts put on Facebook where people tell you all sorts of things about their lives. I just think scent marking is a little bit more complicated because who cares what someone ate for breakfast? Okay, well, let's see if we can keep up with him, if I haven't beached myself. The Duke, let's go back over to Ralph and see what he's managed to find.
Nothing yet. I'm still looking sharply in the trees for any little bush babies or any of the little chameleons as well. You know what, sometimes at night it's actually a little bit easier than spotting things than during the day, because you very often just see the reflection of the lights. So just using a spotlight like this, obviously we don't want to shine on the diurnal animals, but it can help quite a lot. Kelly, there are a lot of owls in Africa. Starting from the biggest one, we have the Verreaux's eagle owl, which I spotted the other day down in the Mlolwati River. They're as big as an eagle, that's why they call an eagle owl. And then you've got the spotted eagle owl, which is slightly smaller. And then the barn owl, which is one of the most common owls, I think, that you find all around the world. I know that you find them in Europe. I think you might find them in Asia as well. And the name very apt because they very often nest up in barns, and their call is a very shrill and you might hear them in America as well. I'm not quite sure if their distribution goes there. But then going smaller, we've got wood owls and marsh owls, and then we've got right down to the little owlets, which is tiny little birds, tiny little owlets, that the pearl-spotted owlet, the little scops owlet, the little white-faced scops owlet. So yes, we've got a number of different owls. And here too we'd also get the barn owl, the spotted eagle owl, the Verreaux's eagle owl, the barred owlet, they do a whirr, whirr, whirr. It almost sounds like they start laughing in the end because it's like a whirr, 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 whirr. A very strange laugh, but a laugh nonetheless. And so yes, we'll be on the lookout for all those little owlets as well. We'll listen out for them, and if we hear them, and then a lot of the time the nightjars will be sitting on the road, so you'll often see them up in front of you, and then they fly up and they catch insects and they fly back down. The owlets, the owls and the owlets, they're more after rodents and little birds and even bats. So we'll also have bats flying around at the moment, the insectivorous bats and the odd fruit bat as well. The fruit bats are rather large bats, but it's not a good time for them at this time of year. As well as the insectivorous bats, it's almost the end of their season because the insects also become dormant, so then they have to move off to go and find better resources. As well as the fruit, a lot of trees don't fruit at this time of year. So there's all sorts of nightlife, both in the air and on the ground. And always good to be keeping your eyes peeled. And not good to drive fast as well, because you will drive past most of the interesting things if you go too fast. I'm going to take a loop around Quarantine now. Maybe Hosana or somebody has popped his nose out, or maybe even Shadulu. So I've been hearing the guys quite regularly getting leopards here on Quarantine quite late. Well, late in terms of late of the drive, but still early evening. Okay, and speaking of leopards, Steve is still with Tingana, and it seems he's on the move.
Well, we are with Tingana, and the last vehicle that we were with, he's now gone into Chitwa, which we're quite happy about. There he's doing his scent marking. But what is amazing is that as Ryan, who was with us there, turned around, he's now got a female leopard in the road. So I'm kind of torn between what to do now. Chances are the female leopard's going to cross into Torchwood, and Tingana now is going to go into the drainage. So we're going to have to make a decision very soon about what we're going to do here. We're spoiled for leopards all of a sudden. And this drainage here, this drainage is going to be very hard, Seb. Ooh, I don't know about that. There he is. Okay, Kobe, thanks, Ryan. Probably Hosana or Tamba. So it's not a female. It's actually a male, young male leopard that they've managed to find on the road there. So is it Hosana come to stake out his claim with his dad? Is it Tamba coming to do something similar? I haven't seen Tamba, the young male leopard, in some time. Yeah, Kirsten's thinking it's Hosana because he loves to follow Pops around. Seb, I don't think we're going to get through there. I think maybe we should go. Kirsten, what do you think? Should we go back and see this cat on the road? What do the viewers want? What do the viewers want to do? Should we try and stay with this cat who's about to disappear? Its drainage system? Or should we go and have a look at whoever that other cat is on the road? Oh, I think I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to turn around because we're just going to get stuck. Okay. Ryan, I'd love to join you there, please. Okay, so we're going to go back there then quickly. Okay, so let's go. We're going to zoom quickly. Let me get out of low range. Ali, yes, Hosana is a daddy's boy, and it would not be the first time that he has decided to show up and see his dad. Find it marvelous that he does that, and quite strange at the same time. But it is behavior that we are seeing and we are documenting, and we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled because apparently He was not on the road. Ryan has just left, but he's moving towards the road. So let's keep peeled, shall we? Ryan, how far from where I left you? How far from where I left you? Did you see him? Okay, Cobby, thank you. We don't know who it is. The leopard madness continues. He's closer towards cheetah cut line. He's closer towards cheetah cut line than before. Seb has even got his own light out now. We don't want to miss whoever this beautiful cat might be. While we try and find him, let's go back over to Ralph.
Yes, well, that seems it's all exciting on Steve's front. He's now trying to relocate there, and, well, I'm just trying to locate anything. But that's the joys of being out in the bush and wild animals doing whatever they want to, whenever they want to. And we've got no time frames for when they're going to do anything. All we know now is that we should be seeing lots of night active animals. I haven't seen too many for the moment. There's lots of insects coming for the light, but I haven't seen any of the birds just yet, and I haven't heard too much either. Sometimes a little bit of a slow start. Poke purple. We do get wild dogs and serval here. It's quite rare to see serval, but there is a chance we can see them. Remember, I think they also move around more so during the day, but quite rare to spot them. And wild dogs, yes, we get wild dogs here too, but they're very nomadic and they come through and they go back. And we've, the Greater Kruger National Park it's about 2.2 million hectares, and that's the size of almost about the same size as Israel. So there's a lot of different packs of wild dogs, and they move and groove wherever they want to within this whole greater area. No fences within that park, so they sometimes come through and they stay in the area, and other times they just keep going. Well, it seems like Steve's on fire. He's got all the action on his side. Let's go over to him.
Can't help that Patience pants are working off this afternoon. This does indeed appear to be Hosana. Let's see. James Richard showed me something about the bottom of his tail. Can you see the bottom of his tail, Seb? Just where the tail meets. No, you can't see it there. There's like a nuclear sign there where his tail meets his bottom. You can't really see it, but I saw 3 spots on the right-hand side and 3 spots on the left. It looks like Husana, indeed. Ryan initially thought it was a female leopard, and he's come in maybe 50 to 80 meters further west than where Tingana came out. So it's almost as if he can smell Daddy-O in the air, and he's trying to find him. How marvelous is that? He's looking into the darkness. Bear in mind, folks, we're on infrared. It is impossible to see. And he is looking straight into where we had Impala earlier, by that small pan as you come into Chitwa from Gowrie, Main. We're not far from that junction at all. And he's looking straight in that direction for, we're not quite sure what, but he's listening. He doesn't seem to have spotted anything. That is indeed Hosana. Does everybody agree with me? So he's probably been walking from where we left his tracks this morning, and he's probably been this entire time walking all this way, because he likes to jump between Chitwa and Djuma. If you didn't know it before, this is indeed my favorite leopard. Well, thank you, James Richard, for confirming it. I'm getting much better at my identification. I know last night I found it quite difficult because he was crouched down looking at us. I couldn't get a look at the spot pattern, and the eyes were wild as leopard's eyes can be, and on foot. It doesn't really matter who the leopard is when you're on foot. That's a leopard on foot. And last night was one of the highlights of my year, I think. Definitely highlight of the year. When we found Hosana last night. What was last night? Barbara, you are 100% correct. Hosana is not your average leopard. I think that's why we love him so much. Definitely one of the crowd favourites out there. He definitely gets enough airtime. And Penny, I think by the time Hosana becomes able to challenge for territory, I think Tingana will be well into retirement. I mean, I don't think Hosana's got it in him for at least another year, if less than that maybe. But, I mean, he wouldn't be able to take on the Duke right now. It's still a noticeable size difference. There's a skill difference. I mean, I wonder if Hosana's even been in a proper fight before. So that is what happens when you want to challenge for territory, is you need to have fought a number of times and probably lost a number of times to be able to sort of achieve a victory. Someone's calling me. Standing by. I'm stationary on Chitwa access with Gariman. Okay, someone was calling me, but it wasn't actually me. Well, it seems like Ralph has found one of Hosana's favourite meals, so let's quickly go over to him before it dashes away.
Yes, everyone, and this is a Cape scrub hare. Look at that lovely, nice close-up of this little guy, and a very good sort of indication between precocial and altricial, if you know those two terms. Precocial and altricial, between hares and rabbits. Precocial being the animals that are sort of born ready to go, and that is grouped in with the hares. Their young are born above the ground with hair, their eyes open very quickly, and they're able to run off very fast. Whereas the rabbits, they're born underground, they're hairless, their eyes are closed, and they're pretty much useless for the first while. So they need to gain in strength, they need to be fed by mommy, and they're not able to move around very easily. So a nice, good indication between the two, altricial and precocial babies, between hares and rabbits. Crazy Shady, I think there's probably quite a big mortality rate of scrub hares that die every night. But, you know, they're quite fast, so they can move, and they've got those big ears so they can hear animals coming. But it's from jackals to caracal to black-footed cats to leopard to hyena. So they need to breed a lot because they get eaten a lot. So high mortality rate equals high natality rate. Natality is the birth rate. So they've got to have a higher natality rate than the mortality rate. Otherwise we wouldn't be seeing them. They would be extinct. So I think let's carry on down the road and see what else we can find. But I think that might be the last you see of me, because Steve's got Hosana, and, well, that's too exciting not to miss. Over to him.
Yes, we are. We have officially confirmed through James, Richard, and myself the Hosana, the little chief, the little prince, and that look I'm getting so familiar with at the night time, with those enormous pupils. His beautiful eyes, you can't really see the colour of them in the darkness, but they're a beautiful brown colour. Tumba's got beautiful blue eyes and enormous ears. And Hosana has made his way. He seems to be popping from dam to dam, from Vuyatela to Chitwa, as if it is a game of ping-pong. And he has moved only a few metres further into Chitwa as we arrived. And he's just listening. There's hardly any air whatsoever. He's listening. His ears are perked. His eyes are alert. You can see there's a little bit of air movement behind him there, but it's not really much to be pushing any animal scent towards him. Paula, he does have such intense eyes, but when the light is on, those eyes aren't that intense, but it's because we're looking with infrared, so the pupils are enormous. He's taking in as much light as possible from this very dark evening, and that's why it looks very daunting when you see those enormous pupils. If anyone's seen their house cat come running in from the darkness with those wild-eyed pupils, there's always something quite special to behold. And here we are with the little prince in the almost pitch darkness. There's only a bit of over a half a moon in the sky. I'm looking over my shoulder to see him. And no, don't go that way, Hosana. We've only got 2 minutes left. Don't go and spoil the show by walking back to the road. Okay, well, what has he spotted? What is he smelling? Let's see if we can keep up with him. Maybe he's looking for his dad. Okay, well, let's go. He's now going to walk, probably as Tingana has been doing, walking in the road. There he goes. It's not a party without Dad, it appears. So, folks, it's been a marvelous afternoon with not one, but 2 leopards. And from all of us on this side, spending time with leopards and hippos is what we do. And we're going to definitely try and keep the camera on him. Enough of looking at my average face. Let's watch the beautiful cat, Hosana, as he meanders into the distance, following east, the same trail his dad did. It's been a fantastic evening. FC, Luke and Kirsten that side, James on bushwalk with Rexon, Ralph having a marvelous afternoon finding hyena, and us with the leopards. It is always a special afternoon in Djuma and the Sabi Sands. Thank you for your comments, questions, and we will be live tomorrow morning, bright and early. Have a beautiful evening, and we see you then.